but always with a very good working together with all the coaches that I've had. Also very alert to see how they solve problems, how they prepare the trainings, how they prepare the matches, the emotions of the players, everything, all the tactical thoughts, and very open dialogue. So I was learning a lot. And from there on, I think I learned as a sport director how important it is to have a very good staff in which loyalty is important, but also that you have people around you who don't always agree with you, but who give you different views on issues. And I love to argue, I love to discuss football. So I think I kind of grew in there. It wasn't planned. As a sport director, I was more in charge of advising and choosing which coach we would have, kind of a DNA of the club, how we would want to play. We knew that the coaches, if they had a good year, they would go to a bigger league, a bigger place. So we couldn't adjust ourselves as a club to what the coach wanted, because we knew if there was success, it would be short term. So we tried to create a little bit of our way of functioning, our way of going into the games, always with the thought to win, always to be a dominator on the pitch. And we used to sign players, of course, with that idea. Also, a club that can buy young players to let them grow, and especially foreigners, and try to sell them to bigger leagues. So my job was more to guard, the path and the structure that the club, together with the owner, decided to embark. And then you're kind of there trying to explain to the coach, when a coach is always thinking short term, to say, yes, coach, you're right, but we're also looking, at the next step of the club. We would like to do this because we have, for example, with players, we believe that we have a player that in 6 months or 1 year will break through in the first team from the youth. So we don't want to block him by signing another player for 4 years with a big budget. So there's a lot of ways that you work together with a coach. And I think it really helps me now as a coach, because I find myself in situations that I actually understand a lot of the decisions that clubs take, because there is a kind of a conflict of interest. We're in the same club, we're in the same team, but coaches nowadays, due to lack of patience, it's a lot of short-term ideas, and clubs, they like short-term, middle-term, but also long-term. So it's always a challenge to find the common ground in which everybody's happy with the decisions that you make in regards to, for example, players. But in that aspect, I've learned a lot from my coaches. I've learned a lot from the owners also, who have a different perspective of football, who are not specifically football specialists, but they're successful businessmen, and you can also learn from them a lot. Football in general keeps on changing. There's new technologies around football that you can use, new database. There's a lot of extras coming. So I think we never stop learning, and it's important to always have the drive to keep improving, to be open-minded, to learn how others do it, how others think, how others would solve a problem. And it's like a never-ending story. There's many ways to success, and it's important to be open-minded. Also, when you go to football teams, you cannot just expect that you go with your book and this is the new plan. You have to understand that in every culture there's a different way of doing, there's a different rhythm, there's a different culture. So you need to be adapting in that aspect. And for myself, as I said, I'm just planning to try to learn, to try to improve. But that's also for myself to, as a sport director, to understand the coaches and to be able to speak to them, because in the end I had the same license that they had, and then you kind of can speak about same subjects in a very good way. I've always had a very good relation with the coaches. I've always known where the boundaries is for a sport director, that you don't cross it, and that you give the coach his working space. But it's always good to talk about football, for I obviously see more than two. And again, I've always had a good relation, and I still have, with all the coaches I've worked together with. And I think as a sport director, I've always been understanding to players, to have a very good work relation with a coach that maybe has a lineup that as a sport director you would do different, but you have to respect his decisions, and that's just the way it is. And I think in that aspect, I've always known exactly where to draw the line, which as a sport director, there's a lot of similarities. That's also kind of a way that you create a good working environment in which everybody has his own specialization and that we all follow the common goal, the common strategy of the club.